Light of God, peace of God, truth of God, creation of God. To accept that you are the creation and peace and light and truth of God is to accept that nothing at all could ever be disturbing, that nothing else at all could ever be perceived as a problem, that nothing at all could ever be seen as separate. To accept the truth of God's creation is to accept perfection, holiness, and purity and innocence. And in the oneness of God, the realization that every form, every one, and everything that seems to be outside you is also that one divine creation. So in this divine truth, how is it possible for the eyes and the ears and the mind to believe that there is something else to be seen, to be heard, to be judged? To accept that you are the creation of God and to open that doorway of learning, allowing the divine spirit of love to enter into your conscious awareness, to enter into that divine communion, is to be willing to learn the truth, to go to the depths of truth itself, the depths of truth that is deeper and wider than the center of the earth, that is deeper and wider than the entire universe. And yet, in the habit of the past, every beloved is determined to be right, that something else is known, that there is a legitimate identity of separation that needs to be protected and defended and lauded as real. But to accept God's creation, to accept the beauty and the perfection of oneness, is to accept that there cannot be any disharmony, that there cannot be any problem other than the belief that you are separate from that creation, that you are separate from God, and that what you know is true. But why would anyone, any beloved, rather accept what is true of pain and misery than to take that leap of faith and accept the brilliance, purity, and innocence of being God's creation? God is love. And in this divine truth, It's the willing acceptance that if God is love, then his creation must also be love and have no other reflection. How easy it is to accept. And yet, the habits of the fast do speak loudest and most frequently for a while. But with faith of the heart, faith of truth, faith of love, the heart will open and see its divine, divine, divine self. In this moment is the opportunity of healing, as it is in every moment. In this moment, love is calling to you, saying, come home, and forget the past and all of its upside down, made up identities. Come home to love. Addiction to battle can seem all-encompassing, and yet, when the light is turned on just a little bit, the addiction drops away, and the lies of battle drop away. Rest in love, where you truly belong. Rest in devotion, where it is most helpful. Rest in light, where the truth is seen. Rest in God, and allow the divine spirit of love to lead you back to truth, back to your joyous open heart that can so easily spring open with your yes. Your willingness carries within it the power of the universe. Find the joy in that yes, because it is so delicious. It is so exquisite, because the yes of your heart is instantly connected. Instantly. You may not recognize it, but instantly it is connected. The games of children are being called to just be let go. No longer wanting to play games. Believing, just like the past, the games of children. Believing in jealousies and vengeances and fears of others. All those games let go. And go deeper still into the beloved child of God. The spirit of love, as you surrender, takes your hand and leads you gently to the divine truth that you could never find, because the ego cannot find anything but murderous thoughts and murderous intentions. But love, love, the exquisite truth of who you are, will lead you. Prayer is the divine medicine that opens the doors. And prayer can be used constantly. Imagine your life as you walk, praying, singing the word of God, singing the truth of God. I am light, I am light, I am light. All day long, offering love and singing and praying, filling all space with the divine intention of love. The power of your yes, the power of your choice. And as you choose love, the heart grows stronger in its divine remembering. As you choose love again and again, the remembrance of that choosing gets stronger and stronger and stronger. Happy, happy that there is a way home, and that the world that you made in the mind is not the truth of anything. Happily, happily, happily choosing love. In this moment, surrendering this day, everything you thought you knew, and touching every beloved that you had the opportunity to touch today and bless today, blessing them again. Every beloved that came into your mind and into your heart, blessing them again. And if they weren't blessed the first time, blessing them now and letting everything else go easily and effortlessly. One heart, surrendering to the love of life itself. No one from the past, no one living in the past can imagine how powerful and how brilliant the heart and the mind truly are in the remembering of love itself. Let your heart explode. Let your heart break open in its love, in its truth of love. And be so glad that the past was not true. Here in this divine moment, here is all love. Here here in the presence of all love. There is no personal here in this present love. There is only exquisite union to return home, to join every beloved who has remembered, and to join every beloved in the truth. And everything else just disappears in the grace and miracle of love. And here in this infinite moment, here in the infinite circle of love, we are one heart, opening and remembering love itself. There is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. And that life force of God is within the union of all love, the infinite circle of love. One breath, one movement of love. This sanctuary is filled with love. This universe is all love. Only love. Only God. Only harmony. Only peace. Accepted. Invited. Embraced. Allow this prayer to spark your heart and remove all beliefs from the mind as you accept the will of God, accepting the will of love as your own, and accepting that you have no other will but God's will, joining the truth of that divine will. Thy will be done. Feel your tenderness, I feel your tenderness. I feel the tenderness of your ever-loving hand. I feel the tenderness. I feel the tenderness. I feel the tenderness from deep within. I feel your mercy, Lord. I feel your mercy, Lord. I feel the mercy, Lord, of your ever-loving hand. I feel the mercy, Lord. I feel the mercy, Lord. I feel the mercy, Lord, from deep within. I see your beauty, Lord. I see your beauty, Lord. I see your beauty, Lord, of your ever-loving hand. I see your beauty, Lord. I see your beauty, Lord. I see your beauty, Lord, from deep within. I sense your truth, O Lord. I sense your truth, O Lord. I sense your truth, O Lord, of your ever-loving hand. I sense your truth, O Lord. I sense your truth, O Lord. I sense the truth, O Lord, from deep within. Deep within, in the quietness, the stillness, where the mind is not having its way, the stillness of the heart, stillness within, is the divine sense of truth, opening to the tenderness of God's grace that is always present, always waiting for the yes. We join in that divine tenderness and recognize the tenderness within of an open heart and a mind surrendered back to God, trusting, having complete faith in the transformational power of love's grace, the mercy, the divine mercy that the past is not true and only love is real, the willingness to come home. On the path of love, the heart opens to remember that we are love as one. On the path of truth, every beloved is called to pay attention so that we can all, in divine union, praise and celebrate the heart of love. Let us all surrender to the heart of the Divine Mother, willing to be comforted and embraced in the truth of love. This is the moment of humility, the humility of the heart that refuses to believe the mind's arrogance, but to come home to the humility of the heart, of not knowing and being so glad to learn the truth of love. This is a moment of humility and of forgiveness, forgiveness of the past and all of the mind's mistaken identities, all let go, as the heart says yes, and of offering the pure charity of love to everyone and everything, having that divine intention. Let us all move into the light in this moment of truth, affirming the charity as we follow the truth, allowing truth to show us the way. All of us united as we sing and dance so the divine will materialize, singing with the heart, dancing in the heart with joy. Let us go on this path of love, living from faith of truth, the willingness to be at the feet of love in every moment and receive the blessings of love. Oh, my Divine Mother, you are the comfort for all of humanity. I accept your comfort. I ask for your comfort. I embrace the comfort as you give me the love and faith and health of a healed mind and an open heart, so that we can all arrive in the truth together as one. And the heart continues to say yes. Nos caminhos do Senhor Jesus Cristo Redentor, abriu nosso coração para podermos seu amor. nos caminhos da verdade há que prestar atenção, para estarmos todos juntos para louvar o coração. O coração de Maria, vamos todos entregar. Esta hora e da humildade, do perdão e caridade. Vamos todos nos seguir nesta hora da verdade. Temos o Santo Cruzeiro para afirmar e caridade. Vamos todos nos caminho, Jesus Cristo Salvador, vivendo de nosso fé aos pés de Cristo Redentor. Ó Virgem Mãe Divina, foi su conforto meu. Dai amor, fé, saúde para podermos chegar. The mind of the ego cannot conceptualize that you can sing and dance in the heart and that the divine will materialize through your heart singing. And yet, this is the truth of healing. That as you praise and hold the devotion to God, the joy begins to get recognized in the heart center, in that divine communion of love. The willingness to invite the divine to materialize. And how does the divine materialize except through the heart and the willingness to see every beloved as the divine, and every situation as the opportunity to remember love. Every opportunity in every day, as time is surrendered, as each situation is surrendered, as love is surrendered and used, the divine materializes. This is the blessing, the truth of grace, and the truth of miracles, the willingness to accept the miracles of love happily. And yet, just that little willingness, when nothing else is available, the little willingness is always available, always held as the light of God that is always within you and always available. Love itself, always who you truly are. Practice this bird call. The way we live opens windows and calls in a secret voice to anything that still seems to be missing. There is nothing in your mind that you have not invited in and made. There is no event in your life that you in some way did not drive a hard bargain for, to prove being right. We were all once like moons in the union of love, full and bright, And now is the time to return to that awareness. The heart, in its wisdom, ceaselessly shops for God. Through every lifetime, that has been, even unconsciously, the longing that has shown up to find God again, to return home to the truth of that divine oneness, and to recognize the seeking, and then recognize the finding, and recognize and accept that you could never leave your source of love, that you could never truly leave, no matter what dreams you think you may have, what feelings seem to be so authentic. None of it is the truth. You are home with God. It's just the remembering of that truth, the willingness to remember that divine truth. The wise in any foreign country, foreign land, foreign identity seek a true guide. Then the guide says, just practice this new bird call of light. It will attract to you the greatness of love itself. Practicing a bird call is to embrace your beloved wings and let that divine bird call come pouring out of the throat as you speak of love and truth and blessings. Every beloved is being called to practice this bird call of love. And to serve love through this divine bird call of innocence and of light. The intention of offering love is the practice of the bird call, wanting only to remember love. In the everyday life of love, in the everyday walk of life, the whole past of life has been believed to be a journey of getting, a journey of proving and winning and defending. But the life of returning home, the journey of love, puts those old addictions aside, lets them drop away, surrenders them into the bonfire of love itself, and goes the way of God's calling. The world and the view from the world of separation is to try to change the world. And how many lives have been spent in that futility? Every past life has been spent in that futility of trying to change the world. When God is calling not to seek to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world, about what you think you know and what you see. and no longer be afraid of the world, but to realize that there's nothing else that is real but love itself. The willingness for that divine grace to open and to see the world through the healed mind and heart and recognize, oh, there you are, my reflection. Coming home to union. And how can this divine transformation actually occur except through surrender? And the willingness to truly see and be willing to see the made-up identity that has been in the way, that has been the lens of limitation from the past. Surrendering all the belief in wounds, surrendering all the belief in scarcity, surrendering all the belief in battle, and no longer willing to believe the thoughts of the mind that say, I know, because every I know will be the past, repeated again and again with no love. But love is waiting. And you have the power within you, and you are opening to that power. It's not a personal power. It's not a power that you made. It has nothing to do with the strength of the body. It has nothing to do with the past at all. It's the power of God that is within you, that you truly are, that you open to and you connect with as you turn to truth. In every moment that you open to that divine truth of love, the forgiveness of the past, which is just the letting go, the acceptance of a mistaken identity of the past that you're no longer willing to accept as viable. Because God would not make a damaged being. God could not make something that was wounded. God could not make something that was built out of fear or hatred. All of that washes and falls away as the acceptance of love's brilliance is invited. Patience is something that the ego doesn't know anything about. There is no relationship to patience in the false identity. Impatience, absolutely. Impatience is fear. Patience is trust. To drop into patience, which patience is an energy field. It's a particular vibration that you can feel within the body. It's usually recognized in the first and second chakra, the connection to the earth. And that patience is the trust of the truth. Trusting that everything will be revealed in perfect harmony and order. And every lesson learned will come in perfection. Every awareness of love will be provided as the yes gets stronger and stronger, and you connect more to the strength of choice. Patience opens the door to love. Impatience. Everyone who has lived in a body can recognize impatience. Impatience is fear. The fear of what may come. The fear of what might happen. The fear of the future. But that impatience, the fear of the future, that fear grabs everything from the past and pulls it into the future to make sure that the ego is satisfied that everything that you see in the future will be exactly like the past because of the fear and the distrust of God. To not put your faith and trust in God is to distrust God and to trust what you know. There's never a neutral thought. There's never a neutral knowing at all. So the impatience, the distrust is always manufacturing a future, which is 1 minute from now, 1 second from now, a future exactly like the past and will be explicitly familiar, but will not lead you to God. Patience, some have called patience a virtue. Patience is just trust. Trust that all the masters that have been sent to you, that every sacred teaching that has brought you back to the same truth again and again and again, sometimes in different words, but always the same, that you put your faith and trust in those teachings, however they arrive, whether they come through sacred hymns that just appear from divine beings that show up to lead your way if you will listen, or sacred teachings that are written or spoken or demonstrated in different ways. But that patience is so essential to walking the way of love. The patience to accept, I could see peace instead of what I now believe. And to put your patience into that prayer. To put your patience into, I'm willing to see the truth here instead of what I know. That takes the patience. That's a call to patience. To breathe and to drop into the patience, the trust of God. That through prayer, through the yes of truth, you will walk the road of love and find the truth of love itself. And that you will learn the bird call of sweet innocence, of offerings of love. In the truth of love, no sacred teachings are really any different from each other, no matter who the master that brought them. They may use different words and different vibrations so that They will get one's attention here and one's attention there. But all the teachings are the same because there's only one truth. Everything that is not peace and harmony and joy is completely fabricated and made up by a mind in pain and suffering, in the belief of pain and suffering. That becomes the joy of ease, of being able to accept. If this is not a thought of peace, if this is not an experience of peace, if I'm not recognizing peace in this moment, I am making something up. The I that thought it knew, that was afraid of love, is making something up. And instead of being insulted, there is a relief and a gladness of the heart to recognize, oh, thank God. Thank God this wasn't the truth. Thank God I can come back to peace. Thank God I can come back to joy. Thank God there's never any penalty to come back. I don't have to pay to come back. I don't have to do anything other than say yes and forgive the past. Forgive the identity that was made even for a moment of a false identity. When a beloved begins to really recognize the insanity of the mind, and that's not a word that is used loosely, because love is sane, love is harmony and peace, and anything that's not peace and not harmony is not sane. So to recognize that and to accept it is to accept another way, the way of love. It is the habit and the intention completely of the ego mind to make problems. That's its favorite occupation. Seeing problems, making problems, agreeing with problems, reacting to problems, battling with problems. And what is all this for? This belief in problems, it is an addiction. It's an addiction that says, without problems, I can't pretend that I'm in control. Because it's only when there is a problem, my perception of a problem, that I actually can believe that I am in control of something. And to recognize that even deeper down, the fear of that open, loving space is terrifying to the ego that believes in darkness and battle. To have open, loving space, an open heart, is terrifying to the ego that believes in the shadows and in the secret mind. But the call is to love. The call is to recognize that only through becoming undefended, by surrendering to being undefended, and to refuse to accept that there is a problem, that there is a battle, that you can hear the voice of love calling to you, whispering to you, that it just coming back to this divine bird call. The bird call is calling you. Hearing that quiet voice of love calling to you to return and to let go of these perceptions of problems, and to truly recognize there can really only be one problem. To believe that you're separate from God can seem like a problem because it's the past and it's what's familiar. But to accept that there truly is no problem, that you can't be separate from God. You can believe you are, you can make a separate story, but you can't be separate from God. You can even hate God. You can curse God. You can make a whole story out of vengeance for God. It does nothing because it doesn't exist. Your hatred, fears, disturbances, they just aren't true. They have no reality. They have no purpose other than self-inflicted misery. But that's only because you have believed deeply that there is hatred. And you believe seriously that you left God. And that everyone who disobeys authority should be punished. And that is what everyone is doing, self-punishing. I will punish myself before God punishes me. I will jump in there and make a miserable life so that God can be right, that I deserve punishment. This is all completely fabricated. You would think that those thoughts would belong to somebody that was locked up. And yet, every beloved is believing in hatred. Because when you're not at peace, when you're not joyful, you're believing in a made-up identity that has no truth. And it will always be miserable. It will be miserable even in the righteousness of being right. Even in the righteousness of holding on to being right. It's still miserable. In the journey of love, the misery of the belief of separation has been so legitimized that it's completely upside down. It's completely upside down from love, where you see a world that you believe is truth when it's completely false. And you see love as false when it's completely true. So every beloved has to be guided back to the truth, because you can't find the truth from your own mind, from your own knowing, because that knowing has all been about fear and nothing about truth and love. So now is the time for love to shine and to accept the truth of love and to stop playing the games of the past and to forgive. Not because there is a forgiveness from God, even though the blessing of forgiveness is bestowed by God, but it's forgiveness for yourself. Forgiveness of yourself for the brutality of your own mind to your own divine self. The brutality of living in misery when love is waiting for you to remember. It is the habit and the intention of the ego mind to make problems and doubts constant. The habit can become so insistent that you can't see anything else. And it feeds on itself. It feeds on itself because the more you think you're right and determined to be defended, the more you see everything through that lens. I can't tell you how many times I would fall into a vortex of pain and suffering because those familiar thoughts would take my attention, and bam, I would go down the rabbit hole of misery. It takes to come back to willingness to not be right, deep faith. And yet the reward is astronomical. To experience the miracle and to realize that the miracle of love, which is the breaking through of time and the collapsing of form itself, that miracle is through the power of your yes. You are so powerful in the truth of love that you can bring miracles to every moment of your life. You can offer miracles in every moment of your life and completely serve love's calling. Not because it's a role. It's not a role. The ego has made roles. Those roles don't mean anything. This is not about a role of the miracle worker. This is about the acceptance, the humility of acceptance that you have the power within you with the divine will of God. That when you choose love, that when you choose truth and harmony and peace, you can offer miracles, and you can be the recipient of miracles of your yes, and the power of that yes to return to love. This is not about returning to what you think you know. This is not about returning to an identity. This is not about some kind of magical thinking or protection. This is the purity of love through your willingness to recognize the brilliance of God in the moment and the acceptance of that brilliance. Every beloved comes from a story. Every beloved does. There's no one that doesn't come from a story. It's not possible, because everyone who has incarnated has made a story of identity that has included all kinds of other beloveds in different roles: mother, father, brothers, sisters, cousins, teachers, next door neighbors. They're all part of the story. You've given them all roles. And to realize that you have the power within you to bring healing love to all those beloveds, that you have the power of your yes, your awareness on the spiritual journey, that those beloveds who came as your cousins, as your nephews, as your nieces, as your brothers and sisters, as your parents, as your children, that every single one of them you can bring healing love to through your yes, and transform their awareness into the truth of love. This works both ways. So those that you've hated out of all those roles that you made will also be the recipients of those blessings. and all of those that you have tried to love but did not know how to love because you weren't aware of love, the truth of real love. Those beloveds you will learn to love and offer those blessings to, and the miracle of transformation into the truth of God through your peace, through the harmony of your own heart. This is the divine calling of purpose. And then the roles, even though these other beloveds in your that have walked in your life with you that maybe you didn't give roles to, maybe they were just like what you think of as little roles, like people that you've worked with, beloveds that you've worked with, beloveds that you went to school with, beloveds that you did live next door to, that you met at the market, that you, all of these beloveds, you have the opportunity of bringing them the miracle of healing through your own peace, through your own light. Every beloved who has been, and this is true of almost every beloved, there may be a few exceptions, but not very many, that every beloved has believed in unworthiness because it is an intrinsic element of an ego identity. Intrinsic. Unworthiness is intrinsic. Self-hatred is intrinsic. If you have ever doubted the power of God and the truth of your own divine worth, it can only come through offering truth to every beloved that you have walked this journey with, and many lifetimes of journeys with. This is the calling of devotion. This is not a personal devotion. This is not personal for you as an individual, because you are not an individual. You are opening to the divine expansion of oneness, and in your offering of miracles, blessings, peace that you offer, which will come through, it's not a thought, it's not a theory, it's a state of being. It's your heart opening and offering love undefended to every beloved that you ever thought was someone else other than the light of God. To see these beloveds who you gave roles to as the light of God, to see them in their magnificence, is your only purpose. To remember love, because you can't remember love until you offer love. You will not remember love until you see everyone with you in that love as the divine. And that is the offering of miracles. Because everyone who receives your divine love, God's love, receives a miracle. They may not recognize it in the moment. They may not have the conscious awareness in the moment of the peace and joy that you are offering to them, but their soul, the soul of God, receives it deeply within them. And it transforms them, and it takes them on the road to healing. And as you continue to offer miracles through your own willingness to be the light of God instead of the lies of the past knowing, as you accept your divinity and the truth of your purpose, you heal, you remember, you transform. It is a divine purpose that has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with the world's agreements of success and failure and proving and winning and defending and battling. None of that. You are in the call of love. Not to become a healer, not to become another identity, but to quietly, with humility, in quietness, offer peace and love and light of truth to all those beloveds that you incarnated with. All those beloveds that every beloved has held in shame and guilt for all of the judgment and condemnations that have occurred in the past by the mind that has believed in separation. Half of them you thought, I'm justified in this hatred, and the other half you were believing that you were guilty by association. None of that is true. Those are all made up stories and lies. No one has done anything. No one has changed the truth of love. But your divine purpose, through your own healing, through your own willingness to accept love's truth, moment to moment, is to offer that peace and harmony to every beloved that you have incarnated with. That is your calling. And there is no other calling. There is no other purpose. There is nothing to prove within the world identity. That's just hocus pocus. It means nothing. But while your mind is focused on proving your worth, you're not available to offer miracles. Now, every moment is a new moment. Every moment is a new moment of, I'm here to love. I'm here to devote this love to the truth and to bless and to bring miracles to every beloved that I gave a role to. Every beloved that has walked the earth has thought about different relationships and different roles and thought, I wish I could give them something. I wish I could change their minds about something in their lives and take the misery out of their life. If you have felt that you wish you could offer something to someone, sisters, brothers, cousins, children, whatever, the only thing you can really offer them is the peace of your heart. The peace, the harmony, the joy of you accepting that there is only one love, one light, one divine being of love, not two. You hold this quietly, you hold this purposefully, you hold this in every moment that you are unwilling anymore to live in your past knowing that you're here to offer love. And all the lifetimes of the past disappear. And all the relationships, because all the beloveds that you have roles and relationships with now have been in every lifetime with you. Every lifetime. Different roles, different costumes, different stories, but all the same. And now is your lifetime of shining light. Now is your lifetime of accepting the truth of love, the truth of your divine being, and offer that love through your acceptance. Offer that love. Where in the past you saw conflict, you are now only willing to see harmony. Where in the past you saw hatred, vengeance, suspicion, whatever, now divine union and love. and the light of God in everyone and in everything. There is nothing to get from any beloved. Now, the mind is sneaky. The ego mind is extremely sneaky because it likes to latch on to things and roles and people and saying, now finally I'll get my due through this relationship. No, there's nothing to get. To accept that you are the light of God in completion is to accept that there is absolutely nothing to get. And eventually, every beloved will wake up to that realization that the pain and suffering of trying to get has been the vengeance of the ego mind in spinning in pain and suffering. Nothing to get, but love to offer, love to pour, love to be in that divine boat and float in the truth of love's harmony. Always offering love, always offering peace, because you're called. You're called in your divine purpose to offer love, to heal by offering love. It's the only way that we can heal, is by offering love. Where there was hatred, we offer love. Where there was vengeance, we offer love. We offer truth. And in that offering of love and truth, we receive that love and truth. As we bless, we are blessed. As we forgive, we are forgiven. Because everything that you are forgiving is what you've made up. There's nothing outside your own mind. Thank God. Because that's where all the healing is. The divine healing of love. The yes. The willingness to step up. And it is stepping up. It's really, in a way, it's easy. I remember this. It's easy to be in the belief of limitation. Easy by means of familiar. Easy because it seems familiar and righteous. But there is no truth there. And it isn't easier. It isn't easier at all. Eventually, through the divine vigilance of love, it becomes the easiest, greatest glory and joy to offer love. Because it's who you are. And when you offer love, you touch into the heart of the truth of who you are. Because offering love means that you are consciously choosing the truth instead of the lies of the past. To accept that there is no problem. There is no problem. But this is a truth that at first has to be really paid attention to, because the wanderings of the mind are notoriously vicious. So it's a waking up in and of itself to be consciously aware of what you're choosing in the moment. But pretty soon, in that choosing, it becomes the joy. The brilliance of love's calling to be in that delicious place of offering love. Because of the compassion. That you no longer want others to suffer. That you no longer want others to be bereft and miserable in the belief of separation, and that you have that divine gift of awareness within you to offer love, to bless, and to bring miracles to all the beloveds that you walk with. You know, and letting go of all the roles that you have given to them, the false identities and false roles that you gave to everybody, and to see them as the Christ light of love, to see them in their divinity, their exquisite light of love that they truly are, as you truly are. And it's the most amazing relationship of offering love, because as you offer love, it all pours through your heart. You don't lose anything by offering love. You breathe in and you soak in the blessing itself. It is what opens your heart. It is what becomes the healing. Your offering of love, of peace, of harmony. And the realization that every reflection is you. Every beloved is you. Everything that you see is either the truth of you or it's the belief of your false self. And when you want to only see love and peace and harmony, you will recognize that love and peace and harmony within. And you will meet the divine. Because the divine is within you. The divine is you. You are the creation of all love. Nothing else is real. Nothing else is true. And you can't serve two masters. You can't serve the ego and be right and be in misery and offer love and serve love's devotion and calling of purpose. Every beloved that has incarnated has felt the same pain and suffering of believing that they didn't have a purpose. Or if they thought they had a purpose, it was never with any real connection to it, because everything of this world has nothing to offer. That's been made up. It's all illusion. There's nothing to get from being the person in the world with the highest IQ, still in the belief of separation. It's still believing in a brain, in an identity, in an idea that you are different than everybody else. And whether you think you have the lowest IQ or you have the highest IQ, you're believing in separation. You're believing in differences and scarcity. You're believing in a lie of identity that's been totally fabricated for the use of defense and battle and vengeance. It has no purpose. It's the call to return to love and to find and embrace your divine purpose of being the light of God and offering that love and light to every element of creation in oneness, and everything returns to that oneness in love through the power of your yes, through the power of your choosing, that you can serve all these beloveds. To accept I am the light of God, I am the peace of God, I am the truth of God, is to open a door of learning. Accepting that is not knowing it, it's accepting it and letting it teach you that truth, that divine reality. But first, you have to accept it instead of what you think you know. And seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. And really open to that devotion and that brilliance of purpose. It's in every beloved. And it is to recognize it in every beloved, to recognize the peace and truth of every beloved. And then your heart is healed. And you are fulfilling your purpose. You are serving the Spirit of Love's purpose. You become the manifestation of that purpose. You become the carrier of truth, of peace, of joy. You walk as Jesus walked in the world, even though you're not completely awake. You are in that divine purpose, and it will take you to that complete awakening. By refusing to accept the lies of the past and the roles that have been given to everyone in the belief of fear and scarcity, blessing them all, bringing healing to them all through your willingness. In a very simple little way. For quite a while I was called that every time the phone rang, I would say, God is calling. And anybody that was there would stop and touch into that. Yes, that was God calling on the phone. It had to be God. There's nothing else. And it was taking the mind out of, oh God, who's calling? Or, oh, maybe it's something I'm going to get. Somebody's calling me because they really like me, or they're calling me because I'm special, or calling because, no, God is calling. God is calling. I'm here to bless that beloved and recognize them as God, as the creation of God. And that becomes the way of your life. That every moment is the offering of love and the call to being the servant of the heart, to having a servant's heart of offering love. The ego's belief is that the servant is a terrible place. The servant is a menial place. It's not given the right accolades of importance. The servant is the way of love, the way of God. The servant's heart generously, quietly gives, offers love in any way that's necessary and needed, available to offer love. Is it a learning? Absolutely, it's a learning. It's the learning of your true self. It's the learning of love's existence and truth. And it's your coming home. It's the way you come home is by offering love and realizing that your heart is a servant's heart, filled with humility and charity and blessings. That's the truth of you. Do you have to keep coming back to that truth and consciously choosing that truth? Yes, you do, because it's been unfamiliar, it's been hidden, it's been vacated from the belief of separation. But as you return and you accept the servant's heart and the truth of who you truly are, you heal. And you heal beloveds that came with you by bringing miracles of peace and harmony and joy instead of the battleground of the past of trying to prove your worth to anybody or anything. And in that acceptance is freedom. The freedom of love that you can't even imagine with the mind that made up being convicted and held prisoner. But the freedom of the flow of love. This is the calling, this is the bird call. The recognition that you have this power within you and that you're ready to bestow your innocence on everyone. The innocence and purity of your heart, the peace of your heart. By refusing to believe in guilt. No one is guilty. No one has done anything. Love is all there is. Allow yourself to bring miracles forth into the world in your true purpose through your own acceptance of peace and harmony and joy. One heart, one breath, eternally, eternally one.